Hi everybody, Taya here from Quilting Delights, and we are excited to share with you our latest invention, which is now in production. We got the prototypes yesterday, they're fabulous, and we are now waiting for our very first order of this new invention to come in. We're here today to share it with you and let you know how great it is and why you need to have it in your arsenal of tools. Everything about quilting, in my experience of 30 years of quilting, is about having great tools in your arsenal. So this particular tool is going to make your quilting life easier and make your half square triangles more precise, and you'll be able to make them faster. So let's get right to it. Okay, we have invented a ruler called Make It 8 marking ruler, and it is awesome. It's a 12-inch square ruler with rounded corners, and it allows you to mark the squares of fabric, whatever size they might be. You can see we have all different sizes. It allows you to mark your fabrics and sew either 8 at a time or 5 at a time. Now this method has been out for a while, making 8 half square triangles or 5 half square triangles at a time. But the only way we've been able to mark the fabric is by moving our ruler. And I made 642 half square triangles here recently for a couple of quilts that I'm working on, and it was the most tedious thing in the world to have to mark the fabric and move my ruler 8 times every single time I needed to mark a square. So I said, I'm done with that. I would imagine that the other 3 million quilters in the world are done with that method too, and now we have a ruler that's going to make it really simple. You're probably asking, what do you mean make 5 at a time and 8 at a time? Well, block lock rulers, which are my favorite squaring up rulers, if you don't have these in your toolbox of quilting toolbox, you need to get block lock rulers. These are hands down the best and most accurate way to square up half square triangles. They're really, really phenomenal. They also have rulers for squaring up flying geese, but these are the ones that I use almost exclusively. They come in sets. You can purchase them individually, but they also come in sets. This is a 6.5 inch, a 4.5 inch, and a 2.5 inch. Those are the ones that I use the most. But on the Block Lock Ruler site, there is a place in the upper right-hand corner where you can download PDFs that give you the charts, the actual charts for what size to cut your squares and how to make these 8 at a time. They don't talk about the 5 at a time, so we've added that to what we're doing. But I want you to know that having this ruler to mark your fabrics is absolutely going to change your life. So it has, like I said, it has a non-slip back. It comes with a full color 4-page flyer that gives you all of the examples of what to do and how to do it, and there will be a download link on the flyer on the back that takes you to 4 free download patterns that are available for you to make in multiple sizes. So let's just do a real quick review of what some of those patterns will be. One of them is called Paws Up. This is a bear paw block. If any of you have ever done a bear paw, you know it's all about the half square triangles. This one is kind of fun because the square uses a half square triangle in the bottom part as well as for the little bear paws. And so if you have charm packs laying around, which is how this one got started for me, I had a Moda charm pack that was awesome and I just wanted to use it up. So I did half the squares. I did all the light squares with a dark background and the dark squares with a light background, set them on point, and this is what I came up with. The cool thing about this is you're going to use the making 5 at a time to make these, and you'll see that here in just a little bit. What's fun about this one is if you are starting with a 5-inch charm square, you're going to end up with a 5-inch block. If you use a 10-inch layer cake, you're going to end up with a 10-inch block. This particular pattern is really easy to figure out and calculate, and you'll see that in the pattern itself. All of our patterns come with color pictures and step-by-step instructions, including pressing and squaring up instructions, which is really, really important. And we'll give you multiple sizes of blocks so you can decide what size you want to make your quilt. The little one here is 28 by 38, I think, and I'm not even sure what size the big one's going to turn out. I'll let you know. Okay, let's move on. The one below the bear paw is part of a pattern called The Road Less Traveled, and it literally is just all leftover half square triangles that we put together. And we'll have a layout for that in the patterns as well. The second pattern that you're going to see is called Peaks and Valleys, and it uses the Make It 5 version of this ruler as well. You can see that you've got one large half square triangle and four little ones, and then we just mixed it all up. This was a layer cake that's been in our store for probably a year. We sold through the fabrics really, really fast because they're from Benartex. It was a fabulous collection, but the layer cakes just sat here because nobody knew what to do with them. So the beauty of this layer cake collection is that half of it was dark, half of it was light, and so we just matched them up, used the making 5 at a time method for the ruler, and voila, we ended up with a beautiful 48-inch quilt, no leftovers, and it's completely done and ready for someone to use. As long as you keep all the lights and the darks going the same direction, it's going to be fabulous. The next one is has a little story. This is a quilt, the likes of which, if I never see this fabric again, I'll be okay with that. And the reason I say that, it's beautiful fabric. It's by Moda, and I don't remember the collection name, but I made a quilt and pillow shams and end table mats for my sister-in-law, and I had enough fabric left over to make an exploding heart quilt, which is also a queen size quilt. I made her a queen size quilt, then did the exploding heart, and still had fabric left over. I was like, oh, how am I gonna use this up? I just didn't want to throw it away. And so I had enough to cut 25 10-inch squares of light fabrics, not only background, but some of the lighter colors, and 25 squares, 10-inch squares of the dark fabric. And I put those together, and it took me less than 5 hours to get all of the squares made and sewn together. And now I'm done with that fabric line, but I absolutely love it. This is a beautiful baby quilt, and it was a great way to use up half square or use up fabrics, scrap fabrics for half square triangles. This new method that we're going to show you with marking and squaring up and piecing, you're going to see some step-by-step piecing. We're also videotaping and posting on our YouTube channel the actual piecing of these is going to give you absolutely precise precision piecing. All of your points are going to look just as great as mine do. Okay, a little bit further to the right, we've got floating stars, and this is another really fun one. Now this is a 25 patch. If any of you have sewn blocks that have multiple squares like this, you know that they can get out of whack in a hurry. They can turn into rectangles before you even know what's happening. So we're going to address that when we do the video for this. But what I want you to notice about this is that it has 8.8 half square triangles in every single square. So using the method for marking and cutting 8 half square triangles at a time is going to save you just a ton of time. This is a very traditional block pattern. And originally, when I saw it, it was made up as a 5-inch finished. Now, there's not enough hours left in my life to make a 25 patch with 1-inch finished squares. So I sized it up, and this one's going to finish 7.5 inches. But in the pattern, there are some additional sizes for you, and I'm going to show you how to calculate those using our charts and using the ruler. So it's a really fun block. This is another one that is awesome on point. So you're going to see all these finished quilts here shortly. Last but not least, we've got flowers and stars, and this is also a very traditional block. You can see right here, let me see if I can get my thumbs going in the right direction. This is the block right here, and it's a half square triangle, solid, and background. Now, the cool thing about this is you're going to use the Make It 8 ruler and making 8 at a time method, and you're actually going to make 4 of these at a time. And you have 2 choices. You can either, well, you've actually got several choices, but let's talk about the 2 choices that are going to be in the pattern. One of them is you can make it an exploding flower like this. And this is such an amazing way to use bright fabrics, collections. You can do 10-inch squares, layer cakes with this. These are all made from a 10-inch square. And they finish out, I don't remember, I think this finishes out at 64 inches without borders. So you can see it's a really fabulous way to use up a collection. The second thing that you can do is you can take 4 of those, and instead of making the flower starburst like we did, you can actually make a star block. And this star block has 4 squares in the middle. If you wanted to get really crazy, you could mix up all the star points and make it as scrappy as you want to. It's a really fabulous quilt. So we're going to show you both this star on point. You can see I've got my sashing and setting triangles ready to go. This will be a beautiful baby quilt. This is from a collection by Maywood Studios called Sun Showers, and it's new and wonderful, and we love it. Both of these quilts come with that. So those are the 4 patterns that we're going to include. I'm going to show you real quick how the marking on this works, because it really is fairly extraordinary. Let me grab my pen. We set the slots up in the ruler to accommodate either the sew line pen or the Bowen wash away pen. It depends on what you like to do. It doesn't matter to me. I like the pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the corners with the corner of the square. Now the peachy colored one here is from a layer cake, and you'll notice in my instructions that I always say if you're using a layer cake you have to go with the 10-inch square, but if you are cutting from fabric you always want to add a 1/4 inch to what you're doing. So you can see my background fabric is 10 1/4. I just like it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to line up those corners with the square, and you can see that it goes with the 10-inch line that goes all the way around because it's from a layer cake. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to mark from the center out. Now the cool thing is the ruler is holding on to my fabric, and it makes it really easy for me just to turn it. And you want to go all the way to that inside mark, just like that. And I just turn my fabric because we have non-slip on the back of our ruler. And one more. And once I have it marked, it looks like this. And what I'm going to do, you'll see by the line, by the ruler, what it says is to start in the upper corner, and we're going to sew to the middle. And this mark right here where you started is where you're going to turn. That's your 1/4 inch. That's your scant 1/4 inch. And then you're going to sew the other direction. And we're going to sew from the outside corners to the middle of the valley, outside corner, back down to the middle of the valley, outside corner, back down to the middle of the valley, and to the end. So you're not ever going to have to cut your threads other than just pull them a little bit. And once you get that done, you're going to lay this on your cutting mat, and you're just going to cut on the lines. Don't cut on the sewn lines, cut on the drawn lines. Once you've got those apart, you press them open and you move on to your pattern and square them up with your block lock ruler. So we're not going to show you how to use the block lock ruler in this video. We just want to introduce this idea. We've already gotten hundreds of orders when we announced this before we even had the prototypes. Now that we have the prototypes and I know how wonderful they are, I want everybody ordering so that we've got your orders going out the door the 1st of May. Where the order is, it's on our website, but if you can't find it right off the bat, just go to the search bar, type in make it number and the number 8, make it 8, hit enter, and it'll take you right to the page. Remember to look at block lock rulers if you don't already have them, the sew line pencil if you don't already have that. Those are all things that are going to make your life much easier. We hope this is going to help you as much as it has helped me, and we look forward to coming up with other great ideas for you. Have a wonderful day.